3 days after getting kicked out of the party her father founded, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla is fighting back. In court. Today we're breaking down the MK Party expulsion saga, the court challenge that just dropped, and the death of an MP that's tangled up in all of it. Before we get into it, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tap the like button on this video. It genuinely helps the channel grow, and make sure you don't miss the next update on this story. Okay, let's get into it. On Sunday, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla and former MK Party spokesperson Lamulo Ndlela held a press briefing in Sandton. Their message? They're done waiting, and they're taking this to the High Court. Ndlela read out a joint statement confirming they're instructing lawyers to formally challenge their expulsions. He summed up their frustration with one sharp line, that the public didn't elect anyone to fight internal battles. Rewind 3 days. MK Party Secretary General Sibonelo Nomvalo announced that both Zuma Sambudla and Ndlela had been expelled. Effective immediately, memberships terminated on the spot. The party's reasoning was layered. Zuma Sambudla, Jacob Zuma's daughter, was accused of using her public platform and social media to stir factional divisions and publicly undermine the party's leadership. Ndlela was accused of going rogue with unauthorized media briefings and misrepresenting the party's official positions. But there's a darker thread here too. Both were implicated in the death of MK MP Mzikaise Nchingila, who passed away on June 4th at just 43 years old. The party claims the pair had him transferred to another health facility without his family being told, and that his belongings were cleared out of his parliamentary residence, again without informing the family.
I'm Ayanda Maseko, Mzikaise's life partner. I have chosen to make this statement to place on record my personal experience of Muzi's illness, the care he received, the events that unfolded through his medical journey. I do so out of respect for Muzi, for the truth, and for the many people who have reached out seeking clarity amidst the conflicting accounts that have emerged. Muzi and I shared 5 years of our lives together. During that time, we built a life together, shared responsibilities, made plans for the future, and stood by one another through both joyful and difficult seasons. When his health began to deteriorate, I remained by his side throughout the journey, supporting him emotionally, physically, and practically as he navigated one of the most challenging periods of his life. From the beginning of his illness, Muzi remained actively involved in his own healthcare decisions. During his first hospitalization, Muzi drove himself to the hospital. He personally completed and signed the necessary admission documentation and made his own decision regarding his health. During that admission, he identified me, Ayanda Maseko, as his point of contact and next of kin. This was his decision, made by him directly, and reflected the role I played in his life and care. As his condition progressed, I continued to be the person most closely involved in his day-to-day well-being, medical appointments, hospital visits, and ongoing care. Throughout this period, our intention was always for Muzi to receive the best possible treatment and medical attention available to him. When his condition later deteriorated to the point where urgent intervention was required, I personally contacted emergency medical services to obtain assistance. Our plan had always been for Muzi to receive treatment at Sandton Mediclinic, which we both believed would provide the specialized care he needed. However, when the ambulance arrived, we were informed that due to our operational restrictions and considerations relating to our area of residence, transportation to Mediclinic was not possible at the time. As a result, Muzi was transported to Lenmed Hospital in Lenasia for treatment. These events are not matters of speculation or second-hand information. They are events that I personally experienced alongside Muzi, and in which I was directly involved. The relevant hospital and ambulance records will reflect the admission processes, contacts, and the sequence of events as they occurred. One of the most vivid events that remains clear in my memory occurred during a period when Muzi was undergoing treatment for complications related to his illness. On that particular day, Muzi and I were attending a medical appointment at Netke Krugersdorp, where he was undergoing x-rays in preparation for an abscess drainage procedure. While we were at the facility, I received a call from my grandmother, who was at our place of residence. She informed me that a large group of Muzi's family members had arrived at the house looking for him. I was surprised by this development, as neither Muzi nor I have been informed beforehand that they intended to visit. Concerned by what I have been told, I immediately contacted Muzi and informed him on the situation while he was at the medical facility. After completing his examination, Muzi personally returned their call. During that conversation, he questioned why they had arrived at his residence without first making arrangements with him, and expressed his view that such a visit should have been discussed with him beforehand. He informed them that if they wished to see him, they could make arrangements to return the following day. What stood out to me during this incident was that Muzi spoke for himself, communicated directly with his family, and made his own decisions regarding who he wished to see and when. There was no uncertainty regarding his ability to express his wishes or manage his own personal affairs at the time. To the best of my knowledge and recollection, following that incident, those family members did not return to visit Muzi at our residence during that stage of his illness. It was only later, when his condition became significantly more critical during his hospitalization, that their involvement became more prominent. I include this account because it reflects an important reality that is often omitted from recent narratives. Throughout much of his illness, Muzi remained capable of communicating his wishes, making decisions for himself, and directing matters concerning his personal life and medical care. Another aspect of this journey that remained deeply painful for me relates to the events surrounding Muzi's personal belongings before and after his passing. During Muzi's illness, there were occasions when I was contacted by members of his family regarding possessions that belonged to him and were kept at our shared place of residence. What stood out to me was that these discussions took place while Muzi was still alive and undergoing treatment. At a time when my focus was on supporting him through his illness and ensuring that he received the care he needed, I found myself having to respond to demands concerning personal belongings. Following Muzi's passing, One of the first matters raised with me concerned his identification document, which was in my possession. As Muzi's life partner and the person he had entrusted with many of his personal affairs during his illness, I had maintained custody of important documents and items belonging to him. At that stage, members of his family did not have possession of any of these items. They only obtained them shortly after his passing. In the days that followed, I made the decision to travel to Cape Town. Muzi had previously entrusted me with the key to his parliamentary residence, and I still had personal belongings of my own at the property. Given the circumstances and concern that my possessions could be mistakenly removed or claimed by others, I felt it was necessary to retrieve my belongings as soon as possible. This was not an easy decision to make while grieving. The emotional weight of losing Mzigayise was overwhelming, yet practical matters still had to be addressed. I did not undertake this journey alone. I was accompanied by Duduzile Zuma, who had been a constant source of support throughout Muzi's illness. From the time Muzi was admitted to Santon Mediclinic, through the many challenges that followed, and until the day he passed away, Dudu stood by us with compassion, loyalty, and unwavering support. Her presence during this difficult period provided strength and comfort when it was most needed. I remain deeply grateful for the kindness, the care, and unconditional support she showed throughout Muzi's journey, and during my own grieving process too. I share these events not to create conflict, but to provide an honest account of experiences during an extraordinarily difficult time. They form part of the broader reality of what occurred during Muzi's illness and after his passing. And they help explain the circumstances that I personally navigated while caring for and mourning for the man I loved. This is one of many experiences that have led me to speak publicly. My intention is not to create division or to diminish anyone's grief. Rather, it is to ensure that Muzi's voice, choices, and lived reality are not forgotten throughout his illness. Muzi constantly demonstrated independence, clarity of thought, and the ability to make decisions concerning his healthcare, relationships, and personal affairs. I believe it is important that these facts remain at the center of any discussion about his journey. As I continue to mourn the loss of the man I loved, shared my life with for 5 years, I remain committed to honoring his memory with honesty, dignity, and respect. I trust that the documented records, the testimony of those who were present, and the truth of what occurred will speak for themselves. My hope is that in the time, the focus returns to celebrating Muzi's life, his strength, the legacy he leaves behind, rather than the disputes that have followed his passing. Thank you.
On top of that, Parliamentary Leader Dr. John Hlope had explicitly instructed the two not to attend Nchingila's funeral or comment publicly about his death. According to the party, they ignored that instruction entirely. Now here's where it gets personal. Zuma Sambudla and Ndlela say they didn't even get the courtesy of a heads up. They found out about their own expulsions through the media. Ndlela framed it as a warning sign for the entire party, arguing that if founding members can lose their constitutional protections this easily, nobody in the organization is safe. Not branch leaders, not councillors, not ordinary members. As for Zuma Sambudla, she's not accepting any blame. She was direct about it, saying she points the finger at the people surrounding party leadership, not her father, Jacob Zuma, making clear she doesn't feel betrayed by him, just by those around him. So now it heads to the High Court, which means this isn't going away quietly. We'll be watching how MK Party responds and what comes out in the legal filings. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think this expulsion holds up legally? See you in the next one.